lootings, destruction across the country. We continue to keep our eye on the ball. And we have with us the managing director of Justrite stores, Mr. Ayo Aderinwale, who's going to talk to us about the rebuilding efforts, how they were impacted, and other matters that are coming out of this tragic events here. Good morning to you, sir. You're welcome to the Global Business Report on Arise News. So how's your company been affected by the recent NSARS protest? I think you put out a press release on Thursday or Friday last week. How have you been affected?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Our store was affected. First, there was an attack on the Osogbo branch of our store, but it was largely unsuccessful because they could not penetrate because of the lock. Then on Friday, the following day, there was also an attempt on the Ikorodu branch. Again, we had some kind of community support that prevented that from happening. But finally, in Bariga, that was where, the looters were able to break in, they broke in and then went in. But one instructive thing happened which has left me with a totally different perspective now and understanding. While the looters were on rampage in the store, some young boys and girls in the neighborhood rose up, went to the store and chased out the looters and took over and provided security. And when we were eventually able to get the vigilante and the OPC to provide the added security, these boys still took it upon themselves to go after some of the known looters, and they were able to retrieve some of the items that were stolen. So for me, it's been a mixed bag, so to speak. Yes, apart from the losses, the closure of the business, loss of earning, the looting that took place. But the other side is that I saw again what I'd always insisted on, that Nigerians are innately good people. And that you look at those boys in Bariga, particularly, in spite of their state of deprivation, without anybody prodding them, without anybody incentivizing, they went there, they stopped the looting, they drove them out. They could have taken advantage. They did not. They could have gone into the store to help themselves. They did not. But rather, they stood guard. And I don't even know them until I went on Saturday for the inspection to see, and then one of them was introduced to me. And for me, that is one big lesson and dimension that we must not lose track of. That even in all of this, some people who have all the reasons in the world to lose their humanity refuse to lose their humanity. That is my experience at this point. Great story. That's very, very good observation there, and that's very positive. We actually have one of our other guests is from the organized private sector. They put out a press release this morning, and we're going to engage him about providing opportunities for the youth. So you've pointed out now some, goodwill on behalf of, on the part of these youth that came and essentially provided security, which those security officers are supposed to be doing, and protected your store. So how do you build upon this? Is it through your, corporate social responsibility? Do you invest more in your community, provide opportunities to these type of youths? What do you do to build upon this going forward? Yeah, in the first instance, the communities where we operate are in the low to medium income sector, a socioeconomic category. And we've always sought to engage with the community, to interface. But now going forward, it means in the first instance, community engagement is going to become a critical aspect of our entire security architecture. We have to now be more engaged with the community. Businesses need to have a very strong engagement interface with the community that they operate in. Because at the end of the day, not only are they your customers, they are also your first line of defense and your support base. This we have experienced both in Osogbo, in Ikorodu, and of course in Bariga. And that is going to guide our engagement going forward, both in terms of CSR and I also say in terms of our security architecture in the first instance.
Okay, great stuff. So if we want to drill down further into that, what specifically does community engagement mean? Does that mean that you perhaps provide jobs to some of these people? Because, you know, if an able-bodied employed person, would they want to put themselves at risk in order to protect a store that they have no affiliation with, unless, of course, you know, it's part of their community and they just want to keep their community safe? Or is it that they just, you know, maybe it was youthful exuberance, whatever the case may be? How do you specifically define community engagement? Is it providing them with more opportunities, or just enhancing the community by investing in more schools or planting more trees, painting buildings? How specifically do you want to engage, go further?
Well, right now, we're still thinking through what we've always done in the past. Is that each time the community reaches out to us to say they needed support for one project or one initiative or the other, we've always responded positively within our means. But now, going further, we're going to change that again by, instead of waiting till they ask, there are several initiatives we are looking at. We're going to have the review meeting tomorrow to determine the line of actions and the way we want to engage with the community. In the first instance, look, next year is going to be our 21st anniversary. Again, we have been trying to look at what should be the nature of the celebration and the focus and the theme. But it has now become very clear that in all probability, it's going to be based purely focusing on the communities in the neighborhood. We also have to begin to look at what can you do, for instance, with indigent but brilliant young people in the community. How can you support them? How can you support some of the youth group? What are the other initiatives? We're going to look at a whole range of initiatives now, because we're going to be now more strongly engaged with the community. In the first instance, of course, we provide jobs to majority of the staff are from the neighborhood. In the first instance. Right. So that is there. Then you now have to begin to engage them, the youth leaders, and support some of their initiatives and their projects as well.
Fantastic. Mr. Aderinwale, there's also a narrative with respect to substance abuse amongst the youth. So there's it's been said that, look, even if you provide jobs to youth in the community, substance abuse can derail them, right? There's the whole, we've talked in the past, although that's been, we haven't really focused on it anymore because of what's been going on. The use of, codeine, all these other substances that derail youth. Have you perhaps, maybe I'm even throwing this as a suggestion to you for us to look at your 21st anniversary and also for the community efforts, to maybe look at supporting youth that have substance abuse issues and maybe use that to get them back on track so they can be more productive in society. Is that something that's, I guess, come up in your conversations with your staff or strategy people in the past, or is that something you can look forward to doing?
Well, I think it would be really an opportunity to make an impact. I mean, the issue of substance abuse itself is a serious problem that all of us, both public and private sector, should be involved in. It's something also we would definitely take on board and look at how we can make impact. How can we help? How do you identify these people? What kind of rehabilitation, what kind of program, what can you do to help them to get back on track? I thank you very much for bringing that to the fore. I'll also take it to my colleagues tomorrow when we have the review meeting. Fantastic.
Another question I want to ask you, if businesses across Nigeria are doing this, Mr. Aderinwale, are they taking the responsibility of government? Because it's been said that government should be the ones focusing on youth, providing jobs. If businesses everywhere in Nigeria say, okay, look, let's all focus on the youth, try to build them up, are you somehow in some way taking this off the hands of government?
The development and transformation of Nigeria is a collective enterprise. It is not a we-day thing. It's not something, because when the consequences of lack of development, when the consequences of lack of social mobility, when the consequences of the frustration come, it does not discriminate between the private and the public sector. And in any case, leadership is the ability of the ordinary citizen to undertake extraordinary initiative. You don't have to have a budget, you don't have to have an office, you don't have to be public sector or private sector. It is to find that there is an issue, there is a problem, and to bring your problem-solving ability to it. The biggest problem we're confronted with generally has to be the issue of poverty. And the only antidote to poverty is wealth creation. And the only people who have capacity to create wealth is the private sector. And that's how, again, you can help deal with the root of the problem in the first instance.
Mr. Ayo Aderinwale, Managing Director of Justrite Stores, thank you so much for your time and talking about this pretty critical issue. We appreciate your time.